You know, Christians like to get mad at me when I point that out. That when you look at the Old Testament, that pretty much everyone in the Old Testament, all the important people, there's a few here and there, but for the most part, all the important people in the Old Testament are wealthy, or they are in high positions that also brings them wealth. It doesn't matter where you start. You can start with Adam. He had a whole garden, had everything given to him. Whether we're looking at Abraham pimped out Sarah 2 times and got paid all kind of stuff from the Pharaoh, and I believe from Amalek. Got paid a whole bunch of silver and slaves and cows and all kinds of stuff. Matter of fact, Abraham and Lot were so rich that they had to split up the land. And Lot, plenty of money too. When you look at Isaac and Jacob, plenty of money. Even when Esau lost his birthright, by the time Jacob came back, he had already recuperated and had plenty of money. The Bible's littered with people who have plenty. All the great stories, all the great people got plenty going on, plenty of money. David, his family was still an appointed family, and then what did David get? The whole goddamn kingdom of Israel, passed on down to his son Solomon. Even before David, when you look at his progenitors, then who do you have? You got Boaz. Boaz already had some money, and then when he got Ruth, he was able to acquire the inheritance from the cousin or other elder, Naomi's husband, and got all his land and all his stuff. Always accumulating wealth and always have a bunch of wealth. This is why I've said so many times that wealth is associated with your righteousness in this Bible, and that it is about acquiring wealth makes you closer. Even Ecclesiastes tells you that you should do many businesses for you know which one you don't know which one is going to succeed. And when Jesus came to the rich young ruler, he was a rich young ruler. Now people are going to get right there and say, well, Jesus wasn't rich, Jesus was poor. That's what I was taught coming up, that Jesus was poor. But as I got older and I started recognizing how things work, Jesus had a trade that was a trade that guarantees you success in life. As a carpenter or stonemason, that meant that you could travel anywhere in the world at that time frame without permission from the king, because your skill set was in such high demand. Jesus wasn't poor. Oh, but he didn't have a place to lay his head. That's a metaphor. Jesus was a traveling preacher. Of course he didn't have a place, but he said he went home to Nazareth, and the people were like, boy, you Joseph's son. What you talking about? But he had a home. You talking about a guy who recruited a guy named Peter who had a fleet of ships. If you actually go and look at the story, they were getting so many fish that Peter had to call for his other boats to come. Peter may not have been literate, but Peter had a bunch of boats. Peter wasn't broke. Matthew was a tax collector. You know that in the late 1st century and early 2nd century, one of the most wealthiest men in the Roman Empire was a Hellenistic Jew in Alexandria named Philo of Alexandria. He was a tax collector for the city of Alexandria. Wealthy. And when you think about the Jesus character and his talents, there's an aspect that many people skip over. When it came to the feeding of the 4,000 or 6,000 people, whichever version you read is going to have a different number, the contradictions of it all. But when you look at it, it says those 13 dudes said it would take us 30 days of labor to feed all these people. Now, in order for 13 people to feed 4,000 people or 6,000 people, and they only need to work a month wages would feed that many people. These were not broke people. Not even slightly. And just like many traveling ministries, people gave alms. People gave money to them. They were not walking around broke. So as much as people would like to think that Jesus was a poor little carpenter, there are no poor carpenters in that time frame. Carpenters were at the level of engineers at that time frame. They may not have been the richest and the wealthiest, but they were the upper middle class. They were that low-end 6-figure earners. So yes, throughout your book, it would indicate that righteousness and money go hand in hand. In the story of the talents, when the 3 were evaluated, the one that turned the 5 to 10 and the other one that turned the 3 bags to 5 bags, and then the one that hid his talents, When they took the talents from the one that only had one bag, did they give it to the one that turned the 3 to 5? No, gave it to the one that turned the 5 to 10. The one that had the ability to make the more money. That's who they gave it to. The prodigal son, does he come back and work for his father as a slave? No. He comes back and his father gives him his inheritance. He gives him some more money because he already took his inheritance. But he gives him some more money. He takes care of him. Jacob, he goes, he works for Laban, gets himself 4 wives. When he leaves, he got a caravan of animals and goods and all kinds of stuff. He's wealthy. So no, the Bible is about wealth and power as being close to God. So for all you poor people, you need to get your money up. That's why they always telling you, come on in, give your tithes and it'll multiply and you'll have even more money and da 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 da. So I know Christians don't like that one, but it's the truth of your book. It's all about money. It's all about power. And if you don't have money and you don't have power, then you have nothing. But they've convinced you that all you got to do is have faith and that your rewards in heaven are greater than your rewards on earth. When everybody else in your religion been getting their heaven on earth and still gonna get their heaven in the afterlife according to your story. So y'all suffering on earth for no apparent reason except for your own. But hey, it's one reason why I walked away from this religion. So y'all have a great day. And remember always, you have to free yourself to be yourself because your greatness is non-negotiable. Good journey, good vibrations.